Right, welcome back here to live coverage of round 3 of the Modern Open here at SCGWOR. We have Dominic Harvey, finalist from last weekend at the Team Modern Open in Columbus. And we have Abe Stein, writer for StarCityGames.com on Jeskai Control.
Yeah, this matchup I think is pretty favorable for Jeskai Control, though the Amulet Titan does have a lot of ways to disrupt that potential via Cavern of Souls and a number of ways to find it.
Yeah, the Amulet Titan deck, it's not weak to too many things in the modern format. Jeskai Control has some forms of disruption, but as you mentioned, the Titan does have counterplay, counter magic versus a deck that has very high access to their Cavern of Souls.
All right, so this isn't your traditional Amulet Titan deck. Now, there are a number of things in this strategy that you are used to seeing. Amulet of Vigor, Primeval Titan, Summoner's Pact, but notably, Dominic is playing things like Through the Breach to give himself a little more speed. He has Wayward Swordtooth, which works very well alongside Zeus, the Lost But Seeking. And, yeah.
Well, pretty neat adjustments to the deck. Abe Stein was on the play here as he did lose game 1. Started off with a Steam Vents and a Glacial Fortress. For Dominic Harvey, he started on a Crumbling Vestige, and his turn 2 is a Simic Growth Chamber. No action or anything like an Amulet of Vigor just yet. At the end of Harvey's second turn, Stein's going to fire a Lightning Helix upstairs. Those stay in. On the play, you can sometimes tag a Sakura Tribe Scout, but that's not what happened here, and because Harvey was on the draw with that bounce land, he'll be discarding an Asusa to hand size.
Yeah, the bounce lands are very strong from the Amulet Titan side because they give you the ability to hit your land drops normally that you might otherwise miss. During that limited format, the original Ravnica block, the bounce lands in limited were some of the best cards you could possibly draft because every time you drew one, you effectively gained a free card.
Steam Vents tapped is the third turn for Stein. Back on Harvey's side, there's that Crumbling Vestige again. He'll make a green mana, fire off an Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah, Crumbling Vestige, one of those lands you don't see too much out of Amulet Titan because it taps for colorless, but in this particular build, it's quite strong because it helps Dominic Harvey hit red for things like Through the Breach, and if you have ways to bounce it multiple times, you can just generate multiple different colors of mana in one go.
Yeah, and once you have your Amulet of Vigor online, it's kind of like another bounce land that's colored mana plus colorless mana.
Right.
Ancient Stirring is going to find a second copy of Simic Growth Chamber. No further action, though. He'll pass, and once again, Stein will fire a Lightning Helix upstairs.
Yeah, and on turn 4, if Dominic doesn't present anything threatening, I think you're going to see a Snapcaster Mage out of Abe Stein here. Throwing another Helix upstairs is starting to get the beat down on him.
Yeah, Harvey is falling to 14 off of that. Stein up to 26. Sulphur Fall is the fourth land for Stein. No main phase action, though that's kind of the script for Jeskai anyway.
Yeah. In this particular spot, Dominic really needs to generate some form of pressure, some threatening thing that'll make Abe bite. Amulet of Vigor here with the untap is definitely a thing that Abe needs to respect. And now it's all about whether or not Dominic is able to play a big threat this turn like a Primeval Titan.
Yeah, there was the Amulet that did not get any action from Stein. Harvey plays the Simic Growth Chamber that he revealed off the Ancient Stirrings, gets the untap trigger there, picks up his Crumbling Vestige. 2 green, 2 blue mana in the pool. Here's a Asusa Lost But Seeking.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Dominic actually has a Spell Pierce at the ready with a blue floating. So if Abe has a Cryptic Command as his means of interaction, Spell Pierce is going to wreck him pretty good here.
Yeah, we'll see what Stein does. It's not doing anything too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that Abe is just sitting on a couple of Snapcaster Mages or something and doesn't really have the juice right now to get things going.
Yeah, so there was no action on the Asusa itself, so that resolves, and then Harvey plays that Crumbling Vestige again with the Amulet trigger on the stack, with the Vestige trigger on the stack. Now Stein's going to flash in Snapcaster Mage, use Lightning Helix to target Asusa, and Harvey actually lets that go. Stein will go to 29.
The damage is done, right? You got the free land drop off of it, playing the Crumbling Vestige. Using the Spell Pierce on the Lightning Helix means you don't have that Spell Pierce later on to win a Counterspell war over something like Through the Breach or Primeval Titan against a Cryptic Command.
Over on Stein's turn, he'll play Sacred Foundry untapped, falling to 27 for his 5th mana source. Attack with Snapcaster Mage, knock Harvey down to 12. Back over to Harvey. something like a bounce land plus Titan with Spell Pierce backup could be a very good turn.
Yeah, and from Abe Stein's side of things, it's going to need to be either Logic Knot or Cryptic Command as the majority of the counterspells that they do play. Other than that, can't target Primeval Titan directly.
Harvey's going to float a colorless mana off the Vestige, play a Gruul Turf, untap that with the Amulet, pick up the Vestige. Up to 7 mana available here. He's going to tap both Ghost Chambers, blue, green, and colorless currently floating. Taps the Turf, so up to 3 green and a red. He's going to spend everything but that single blue, again leaving up that Spell Pierce, and here is Primeval Titan.
Now, Primeval Titan here is really where the ball gets rolling for this deck. Looks like Abe has to let it resolve, doesn't have the answer, and we're going to get some fireworks here, folks.
Yeah, no response to that. So now Harvey's doing what the deck does. This is an Amulet of Vigor plus Primeval Titan. So Harvey has to navigate exactly what he wants to do here. Pick the 2 lands he wants to get.
Looks like he's going to play it relatively safe, finding lands that aren't the combo lands, that Slayer Stronghold and Boros Garrison, which allow the Primeval Titan to attack this turn and get the effect again. Dominic really expecting a Path to Exile or something here and losing out on a lot of that value.
Yeah, there's Teleria West and Cavern of Souls going to be the lands found here. They'll untap with the Amulet, still has blue floating. Looks like Harvey was motioning to pass and motioning to have his Titan path, but Stein's going to start with an Electrolyze here.
Yeah, after no path and Electrolyze to the Dome, I think Dominic's going to know that the jig is up.
Yeah, Harvey falls to 10, and here is Path to Exile on Primeval Titan, and now Harvey will Spell Pierce that, as Stein did tap out of Spell Pierce range after leading with that Electrolyze.
Yeah, that weird spinning of the mana in that situation. I believe Abe actually had the Path to Exile already, and then I don't know what he drew for the Electrolyze, but getting really punished there. I could be wrong, and he could have drawn the Path to Exile and just wanted to use his mana efficiently, so don't clock me on that one.
And Stein likely going to have to deal a lot of damage really quickly or have some other answer to that Primeval Titan. Because he has the advantage on life totals 27 to 10, but if you've been playing this game long enough, you know that's not really what things are about. You have to actually get the opponent to 0.
Yeah, the only one that matters is the last one, unless you have a card like Test of Endurance.
Flooded Strand for Stein. Nothing else, though. We're back on Harvey's side.
Yeah, if this Primeval Titan gets to attack, I don't think that Abe is long for this world. Dominic's hand looks absolutely stacked. Looks like he has a Summoner's Pack, so he can go get another Primeval Titan, potentially something like a Roark Thar. It's not looking great.
Yeah, we'll see exactly where he wants to start. He looks like he has drawn his Slayer's Stronghold, though he had a stage in a game where he can probably work with that. Frequently, drawing your combo lands can be a little bit awkward, but we're at a point where he's just kind of doing his thing. He has an unchecked Titan. A lot of options for him. Here's Summoner's Pack. He'll find a second Primeval Titan.
Yeah, and if I was a betting man, I'd say Cavern of Souls is naming Giant.
That would be my guess as well. We got confirmation on that. It is on Giant.
Weird.
You don't want to name Titan with that one.
No.
That was one a lot of players learned when it was in Standard. That's the wrong creature type. But here is that second Primeval Titan. Cast out the Cavern of Souls, so that's uncounterable. Not that Stein countered the first one in the first place. We'll get another Primeval Titan trigger here.
Quick question. Is Emrakul the Aeon's Torn an Eldrazi Titan or just an Eldrazi?
I think they're just Eldrazi's.
I also think they're just Eldrazi. But I know that multiple times throughout the Magic lore, they are referred to as the Eldrazi Titans. True. So now I'm guessing, is Titan even a creature type in Magic the Gathering? If Primeval Titan's not a Titan, and the Emrakul the Aeon's Torn is not a Titan.
I think it is a legal name.
Now I'm really curious.
All right, so here's 2 more bounce lands. Simic Growth Chamber and Boros Garrison picked up. He'll return his Cavern of Souls and his Talaria West to hand. Can choose a different creature type later and can transmute the Talaria West. That makes a lot of sense. tons of mana available. He'll play that Slayer's Stronghold from hand, giving Vigilance and Haste to the fresh Titan.
And if he transmutes for something like Pact of Negation, that should all but lock it up. I think the card that Dominic is actually a little worried about here is Settle the Wreckage, which has seen an uptick in play, but I don't think Abe has it.
Transmute of Talaria West for Harvey. Stein will respond with Snapcaster Mage on Path to Exile. Take care of the 8/6 Titan. And Harvey will resolve that transmute. He'll find Pact of Negation and attack with the Titan that's still around. Another trigger on that one.
And this one likely going to find just more Talaria West and more ways to put it back in his hand. His hand has a Cavern of Souls still that he returned this turn to protect it from Field of Ruin or Ghost Quarter or something like that. Can even use it next turn to name Insect and cast Hornet Queen from his hand. This has a lot of pressure here on Abe Stein. He's got to do a lot of damage over the next few turns, but something like Sunhome can shrink that window quickly.
Talaria West was the first find. Harvey thinking about a Radiant Fountain, possibly wants to get a little bit of a life buffer. He's at 10. Lands on Vesuva instead.
Honestly, I kind of love it. Getting the Fountain to gain 2 life. Pretty sweet here when one of the easiest ways for you to die is your opponent attacks you for 4 down to 6 and then throws 2 bolts at you.
Vesuva must have copied some kind of bounce lands and immediately picked itself up there.
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting, even though there is that potential for a couple of bolts here to close the game. Dominic does have that Pact of Negation, but if he uses that, he has to pay for Pact of Negation as well as Summoner's Pact, which leaves him with very little mana on the turn.
Attack for 4 from Stein, bumps Harvey down to 6, adds a Hallowed Fountain tapped. Harvey wisely pays for his Summoner's Pact and is going to go back to work here.
I was going to make a joke like, oh, you say wisely like he has a choice. And then I thought back, well, I am not wise because I have missed my Pact trigger quite a few times.
Here's another Summoner's Pact. Yeah, it is a choice. There's one correct option. It's clear which one it is, but it is a choice. Another Primeval Titan added to the hand. Here's that Cavern of Souls. Going to be back on Giant as he casts that Titan immediately.
Yeah, it's going to be uncountable. This should probably get Sunhome. He's basically just forcing Abe to have the answer every single turn as he presents big threat after big threat after big threat.
Sunhome pushed to the front of the deck. And there's Radiant Fountain as well. Those two will untap, and Harvey will go to 8.
Yeah, and he's going to have the ability to give the new Primeval Titan haste. It's going to let him search up 2 more lands. They should be able to Sunhome, targeting the 8-powered Titan. That's 16, plus 6 from the other one is 22. With Pact of Negation in hand, Abe only has 1 card.
Ooh, here's a neat one that I don't think I've seen before. Teetering Peaks. A Zendikar draft common. It did see standard play. Not really a modern player. It's a land that enters tapped, taps for red mana, and when it enters the battlefield, gives a creature +2/+0 until end of turn. That and Gemstone Mine is the find. That's red and white mana if that's what you're into. And this other Primeval Titan trigger is going to resolve. It's a Gruul Turf.
Bajuka Bog. I'm more into blue and red mana for myself, but... All right, here comes a Summon Home activation. That's going to give that now 10-power Primeval Titan double strike.
Stein shows Scalding Tarn's all he had left, and this is going to be a 2-0 victory for Dominic Harvey on Amulet Titan over Abe Stein on Jeskai Control. Harvey starting off 3-0.
Yeah, you see the Jeskai Control there just drawing the wrong half of their deck. Unfortunately, not enough to get the job done. Amulet Titan really showing his chops. Just once it resolves the first Primeval Titan, just finding things like a bounce land plus Talaria West allows you to Summoner's Pact again, and that just keeps the juice flowing and forces the Jeskai Control player to have the right answer on the right turn over the next 4 turns, and it's really difficult to do.